Hello, welcome to the Hoop Collective. We talk about the NBA. Joining me from Syracuse, New York, where he's, fled from Toronto after the end of the Sixers Raptors series, headed to Miami for Sixers Heat, is Tim Bontemps.
Hello, guys.
Joining us from Salt Lake City, where he's fleeing in general because the Jazz are done, and headed to the Mavericks Suns series soon, is Band MacMahon.
Howdy, partners.
So, guys, I'm very interested, and I haven't gotten a chance to watch this series much because it's been on some of the nights of the series I've been covering, New Orleans, Phoenix. I'm looking to tuck in to seeing this potentially wild, because this series has been wild, Game 6 on Friday night between the Wolves and the Grizzlies. This this two teams they're somewhat similar, relatively young, and all over the place. These games have been back and forth. There's been tremendous play. There's been mindless play. There's been incredible finishes. There's been collapses. There's been chest beating. There's been trash talking, but shot making. Bontemps, this has been as exciting as a 2-7 series as I can remember.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great from start to finish, and it's been exactly what I hoped it would be coming in. You got two young teams. Obviously the Grizzlies got a taste of the playoffs last year, getting the Jazz in game 1 and then getting routed 4 in a row. But, this is a team that's certainly feels like it's ascending. They certainly are going to tell you that they're ascending in the West. And, they're playing a Minnesota Timberwolves team with a guy that, Anthony Edwards, we did our top 10 prospect rankings a couple months ago. And for example, I think LaMelo Ball was 5th and MacMahon, I think, picked Anthony Edwards 9th. I'll just tell you right now, Anthony Edwards is a better player than LaMelo Ball now.
Yeah.
He is really
up.
He has been on a rocket ship, and that team has, really been impressive, and frankly, could have had this series closed out already.
Should have. They've blown 2 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. Cat's out there shushing the crowd in Memphis, and then he went silent the rest of the game while John Morant
he shushed himself.
Yeah, while John Morant is taking over the fourth quarter, scoring a Grizzlies franchise record for any playoff quarter, 18 points, and hitting the game winner when Anthony Edwards did have a just inexcusable defensive brain fart, trying to go for the steal on the high side and leaving the runway open.
There's gambling, and then there's that. I don't even know what that was.
Well, my favorite part about that.
No, that's putting your whole paycheck on lottery tickets.
My favorite part about that was after the game, our man, the Ant-Man, who again, we love him, but he gets up on the podium, gets asked about that, and says, "Yeah, before the play started, I decided I was trying to go for the steal." It's like, what are you doing, Ant-Man? Just stay in position, man. But like this, by the way, this is the yin and yang of the Ant-Man.
Was Pat Beverly even on the floor for that?
I think he fouled out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Bull Durham, which I'm sure Ann has never seen. When don't think.
He didn't even know Alex Rodriguez played baseball, much less watch baseball movies. Oh, by the way, A-Rod showing up in a suit. Come on, man.
That's how A-Rod.
But yeah, there's just been wild decision making all the way around. Jaren Jackson Jr. can't stop fouling. It's just all kinds of craziness.
And basically what's going on here is the Grizzlies have a chance to close this out because Minnesota has crumbled in 2 fourth quarters. They blew, I forgot what the lead was in
21, I think.
Yeah, blew
might
that
have been
thing.
bigger. Might have been 26.
Something. It was massive.
But I think it was 26 and 21.
Yeah, blew that one at home. They're up and looked like they had it. They had the Grizzlies on the ropes, and then Ja, had the dunk of at least the playoffs on poor Beasley. And suddenly the Grizzlies roar back to life with Ja just taking that over. And closing is spelled with a C, and so is cat. And it ain't KLOSE, it ain't KAT. They've got to figure that out. Karl Anthony Towns has to show up down the stretch for the Timberwolves to be able to
it's not just show up in the series. It's not just show up. It's consistency. He doesn't have to make every play, but he can't
disappeared.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I've said this.
He
before,
also had a 4-shot attempt game in a loss, a 4 field goal attempt game. They asked him what happened, and he said, "Next question."
Right. Well, that's the thing about him. I've said this before. They're a high variance team, and high variance teams don't typically make long playoff runs. They often play extremely exciting games, but they don't stick around very long. And that's what the Wolves are. They may not be a high variance team a year from now. They may make moves and they may learn from this. And, but when you rely on guys who are as up and down as Ant and Karl Towns, and, you have just general guys who are run hot, run cold players like D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, that's what your team is going to be. Like, I would not, nobody would ask me for betting advice anyway, but I would not touch any of these games with anything. I have no idea, especially live betting in games. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Oh no! Fourth quarter. I'm looking at that, and I'm hammering the Grizzlies. What are you talking about? It's the one thing you can predict.
Listen, that's what you say, but I'm telling you, the Wolves. It could be tied going into the fourth quarter on Friday night, and the Wolves could.
You have no idea what's coming with them, right? Which is ultimately why they're probably going to lose the series. But what we have seen in this series, look, it's like I said before about the Ant-Man descending, even in like prospect rankings. He's their best player going forward. And he's the guy.
He's the face of the franchise now.
Yes. He's the guy that, Karl's made some all-star teams. Obviously, he's a very talented player, but the Ant-Man's the one driving them where they're going to go. However far it is. Maybe this ends up being as far as they go, and they just stay in kind of a perpetual, first round playoff-ish team.
He's in that bus driving seat that Barkley keeps telling us about.
Could you imagine
Cat's riding shotgun. Cat's riding shotgun, and come fourth quarter, come crunch time, he's taking a little nap.
Can you imagine what it would be like if Ant drove a bus? That thing would be all over the road. That thing would be up on 2 wheels.
I was going to say, probably have like,
here's what I know.
Like monster truck tires, also with
up. Our guy was in again, just another classic pose. There he is. There's a shit-eating grin.
Man, I had a good line.
You did have a good line.
I think you have a good line. Underwater, such is life. Where were we?
You were talking about monster trucks. Going to try to say it again.
Yeah. Dude.
No, I was going to say. I mean, if Ant had a bus, I bet you this thing would have like monster truck tires with like rims on it, the whole thing, like that thing. And I tell you what, there'd be a party in the back too. Be one of those party, probably like a disco ball. It'd be a good time.
Okay. It'll be an entertaining series. I don't know if either team has shown the ability to win, make a deep run here, which, the Grizzlies obviously, I'll say one thing about this is both teams probably have reason to believe that they can play with the Warriors. The Wolves have had some success against them over the last few years, although granted the last few years, the Warriors haven't been themselves.
So has Memphis.
I was going to say, so have the Warriors, success, including knocking them out last year in San Francisco in the play-in.
Right. So, but the Warriors are so much more disciplined and so much more honed and so much more experienced. I think,
and they've got another star now. Jordan Poole looks like a star.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this though. You look at the second half of Game 5. Jordan Poole wasn't on the court down the stretch. Why? Because they couldn't guard anybody.
Yeah.
And this lineup everybody's talking about with Steph and Clay and Draymond with Wiggins and Poole. I don't think they can beat real teams in the playoffs trying to play Steph, Poole, and Clay with those two guys. They're going to be way too small, and they're going to have a lot of trouble guarding. Because this ain't the death lineup where you got Andre Iguodala out there and either Kevin Durant or Harrison Barnes out there. And you got size and versatility defensively and athleticism. You're talking about some serious defensive weaknesses and some serious, in particular, rebounding weaknesses with that group.
Draymond has had success guarding Towns in the past. Mm-hmm. But Towns,
well, they're gonna stomp Minnesota if they somehow win the next 2 games. The question is if they play Memphis with all their athleticism and all their speed and all their length, that's the team that I think could potentially beat them. We've seen them beat them in big spots in the past, and you go all the way back to the 73 win team. what was the team that maybe gave them the most trouble? It was at that point, 500-ish Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. They had all these long, rangy athletes. And at that point, Jason Kidd had them playing this like crazy frenetic defense all the time. Mm-hmm. And they gave the Warriors a ton of trouble because they just flew around and used their athleticism and overwhelmed Golden State. And that's what Memphis has done and can do to them. And I think they can beat them. I'll tell you one thing.
If you're going to make a case for Memphis to win or push the Warriors, I'd like to see a professional performance in Game 6. Go take a team down
on the road.
Keep your act together. Play consistently for 48 minutes. Then you'll maybe jump up an echelon, because that hasn't been the style of the series. So, but we're definitely going to be watching it, and we'll be talking more about it on the Hoop Collective podcast, which we have come out every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks for watching.